Dear friends, this is the continuation of my visit to the Topkapi Palace. In this video, I will be covering the palace kitchens, the harem, and the church of Santa Irene. Built in the second half of the 15th century when the palace was built, the kitchens were enlarged to its current size during the reign of Suleiman the Magnificent. They were modeled on the kitchens of the Sultan's Palace of Edirne, the former capital of the Ottoman Empire. After a fire deeply damaged the kitchens in 1574, court architect Mimar Sinan remodeled them, adding 2 rows of chimneys. More than 800 people used to work here, and they prepared over 4,000 meals at a time. The kitchens had dormitories, baths, and a mosque for the employees, most of which disappeared over time. Today in the palace kitchens are exhibited a silver gifts collection, a large collection of porcelain, and of course the kitchen utensils. The Chinese porcelain collection exhibited here is among the finest in the world, and it ranges from the Song dynasty all the way to the Qing dynasty, with the Yuan and Ming dynasties in between. I am now entering the harem, which was the section of the palace where women were housed, and that only the Sultan himself and authorized staff could access. Here you see the courtyard of the Black Eunuchs, who were the people guarding the harem and making sure that non-members were kept out. They were mainly taken there from Abyssinia, castrated and strictly trained. The chief eunuch was the highest-ranking official of the harem, and his position in the palace protocol came immediately after the Grand Vizier and the Sheikh al-Islam. Many of the eunuchs' apartments face this courtyard, which is the first one of the harem. At the end of the courtyard, we enter the apartment of the chief eunuch. I am now inside the apartment of the Queen Mother. It is decorated with yellow and green tiles with floral motifs. The upper part instead is decorated with a paintwork of panoramic views in the European style of the 18th century. The Imperial Hall, known also as the Imperial Sofa or Hall of Diversions, is a domed hall in the harem, probably built in the late 16th century. In this room, the Sultan received his confidants, guests, consorts, and children. The hall was renovated in the Rococo style after a fire deeply damaged it in 1666 by Sultan Osman III. The tile belts surrounding the walls bearing calligraphic inscriptions were revetted with 18th century blue and white tiles from Delft. But the domed arch and pendentives still bear classical paintings dating from the original construction. The Privy Room of Murad III is the most ancient and best preserved building in the harem and was built by the greatest architect the Ottoman Empire ever had, Mimar Sinan. The domed space is decorated with Iznik tiles and calligraphy reciting verses from the Quran. A band of inscriptional tiles runs around the room above the shelf and door level. I have arrived now to the courtyard of the favorites. It represents the last section of the harem. Here is where the apartment of the Sultan's favorite consort is located. Extreme importance were given to the favorites because they were the instrument for the perpetuation of the dynasty. As soon as they got pregnant, their status was raised to that of official consort. The blue building you see there is the twin kiosk of the Crown Prince. The Crown Princes used to live there in seclusion until they reached adulthood. For this reason, the apartments were also called kafes, which means cages. And finally, we are on the iconic Golden Road, which is the corridor used by the Sultan to pass to the harem from his privy chamber. It is called the Golden Road because of the Sultan's habit to throw golden coins for the concubines to be picked. So this is the end of my visit to the harem of Constantinople. Now it's time to head to the Church of Santa Irene, which will be the last building I visit today. St. Irene is an Orthodox church located in the outer courtyard of Topkapi Palace. It's the oldest church of Istanbul that is still standing. Before her much larger sister St. Sophia was built, St. Irene was the church of the Patriarchate, more or less the equivalent of the cathedral in Catholic countries. The sensation you have when you enter a building that has been built 1,500 years ago is overwhelming. The reason why I have left this church for last in this visit is because it really is the building I am the most interested in. And that's for various reasons. Number one reason is because it goes much more back in time than the rest of the Palace Museum. Number two is because I am Christian and not a Muslim, therefore I feel much closer to a church than a mosque or any other Ottoman building. Number three is because there aren't too many Byzantine buildings left in Istanbul. This church is the only one that hasn't been either destroyed or turned into a mosque. After the Ottoman conquest, it was turned into an arsenal where weapons were stored. Unfortunately, as you can see, the church is still undergoing renovations. I can't express how disappointed I am feeling now. Despite the disappointment for not being able to see the upper ceiling, the atmosphere you feel in here is magical. I hope I am able to convey that in the video. It was worth it after all. It's like a jump back in time.
I know that you're curious, I know that you're strong.
My visit to the Topkapi Palace Museum has come to an end. As I said before, my 2 videos haven't covered the entirety of this enormous complex, nor I have the pretense to have made an art history lesson. If I could at least give the viewer an idea of how this place is and stir some interest, then I consider these 2 videos a success. I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to see you in my next video. Bye.
Your heart and your soul, don't drench your desiring, which you can't control. We fly, try so hard to get there, and we might, lost but not forever. Let's